shortened version of a video I did earlier that talked about a few things, but mainly Robert Kirkman's original idea for Glenn's death, which was when Negan was introduced that Rick would be forced to kill Glenn to save Carl. Now, this idea was supposedly his original idea and was first made public when it was published in issue 154 of the Walking Dead graphic novels titled Led to Slaughter. Now, in all the issues in the back, there's a section called Letter Hacks, and fans get to write in and ask questions or give insight, say what they think, and Robert Kirkman will reply. So this particular issue was interesting. It came out in May, and let me read it to you. I read somewhere that Robert Kirkman created Negan because he wasn't satisfied about a circumstance where Rick was forced to kill Glenn to save Carl. What? Could you elaborate on the circumstance that would have been? I love Negan, but seeing Rick kill one of his best friends sounds like a missed opportunity. Robert replied, that is true, but I can't for the life of me remember when I spoke about that publicly. The original plan was for Negan to force Rick to kill Glenn to save Carl. I couldn't figure out a clear way to make it work, and so I just changed it up. When I read this back in May, I was convinced this is how it was going to play out in this season 7 premiere. I was going to be the brain surgeon who figured it all out and get props from everybody, and blah, blah, blah. However, there's a kink in the theory, and it's a big one, and that is the issue was published in May, and the season 6 finale aired in April. The timing of that is so sketchy to the point where I'm leaning towards believing the letter was planted as a diversion. I'm not convinced that Robert Kirkman would use the graphic novels as a vehicle to do something like that. However, you know what? He's the creative mind behind it all. He's got carte blanche as far as I'm concerned to do what he wants. Okay, so let's see how Robert Kirkman's supposed original idea would play out with 2 deaths. I was hearing that a lot over the summer that, people thought there were going to be 2 deaths. Glenn wasn't spotted during filming. Abraham wasn't spotted during filming, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's say there are 2 deaths. Do not think it's going to be Daryl. He's unique to the show, provides a lot of value, is a badass, and I don't think AMC gave him his own motorcycle show as a consolation for booting him off. And don't tell me some of you out there haven't been thinking the same thing. Okay, so let's say it's Glenn and Abe. Okay, Negan does his eeny, meeny, miny, mo thing. Bam, Abe selected. Whack, goes down, taking it like a champ. All right, so then death 2. Glenn has one of his melodramatic, emotional bursts. And if you remember from the season 6 finale, he does that, freaking out, crying, acting like a wuss, crying for Maggie. Okay, and he was warned properly by Negan. Negan has to put him back in line, and says, don't any of you do that again. I will shut that shit down. No exceptions. First one's free. It's an emotional moment. I get it. Okay, dude, you were warned. So, whack, Glenn goes down. Okay, now, survivors standing over Glenn's dead body, freaking out, crying, poor Maggie, she's pregnant. And moments later, Glenn turns, lunges for Carl, and Rick has to kill zombie Glenn to save Carl. I love that. It's my favorite theory thus far. I hope it happens. Greg Nicotero has stated in interviews that the aftermath of Negan's brutal assault would not play out exactly how it does in the graphic novels. He's also stated that there are some iconic moments from the graphic novels they will definitely pay tribute to. I have 2 of my favorites that I'm hoping will play out, and I will tell you them. The first one is when Negan bashes Glenn's head in and his eye pops out of the socket. I know that's kind of gross and twisted, but I freaking love it, and I hope it happens. Second is when Negan looks at Rick, and Rick looks back, and Rick's like, I'm going to kill you. Not today, not tomorrow, but I will kill you. However, I am hoping that quote comes from Carl instead. I think it'd be a great way to open the door to what becomes a disturbing rapport between the two of them. Nothing disturbing about Jeffrey Dean Morgan, though. That man could wrap barbed wire around my body and call me Lucille any day of the week. And speaking of Lucille, if you want to know how the iconic barbed bat got her name, you should check out Image Plus magazine. They're publishing Negan's backstory. It's called Here's Negan. And it's about a 12-issue run, and I think they've done 5 of 12 so far. It's an interesting story, a really good read, and you should check it out. Sorry, Glenn. Sorry, Abe. You guys had really good runs. And who knows? Maybe you'll show up on Outcast next season. Bye, guys. Don't fear the Reaper.